Hello, everyone. Hello to this session. To start, I will give you just few moments, as usual, to scan this QR code to just have the opportunity to ask your question at the end of this topic. So, let's start. The plan of the day will start with a small introduction to present this topic. We will see the main pain point of project planning. After that, of course, the main event, the lab demonstration, and we will finish with a small conclusion and also with your question. So, did you know this feeling that you have Monday morning? You just open your laptop and you are juggling with a lot of tasks, a lot of resources, deadline, a lot of tasks, all screaming urgent. This is not just for service company. If you launch a new product, if you perform a marketing campaign, or just organize an event, project planning is everywhere. And let's be honest, it can be a real mess. So today we'll see how to turn chaos to clarity, how to go from I think we are on time to I know we are on time. We'll do it with Odoo 19. So basically, project planning is always balancing three things: times, links, and people. So let's go on each one. So the first one, times, the most obvious one. It's a classic problem. You promise a date to a customer, and back at the office, this date feels impossible. That you will create a gap between the reality and the promise. And it will be cause a lot of issues, stress for the team, delays for the customer, and at the end, a lot of trust for everyone. Next one, dependencies. So it's a classic domino effect. Imagine that the task A depends on the task B. And if the first one is blocked, the second one cannot start, and even more the last one. And you can paralyze all your project at this way. So, if you cannot say this link between your task, you are not driving a project. You are just a passenger that saw in slow motion a crash happening. And the last one, people, the most critical one. Let me ask you only one question. Do you have one single view where you can find all teams' schedule? Most of you cannot, because you are juggling between calendars, Excel file, and a lot of tools. And if you cannot see this information, you will overload your best people, and you will have some people that have not enough work. So I think we have enough theory of this topic, and let me Rectify. Rectify is an e-commerce service company that builds website with Odoo. And like everyone in this room, they want to deliver a great job. Each time, every time. But the reality is a sales promise on 1 month delivery, but nobody is available. A developer that works on a task and block a designer, or a manager that gives too much work to the best PM of the team, and he don't have any idea of the workload. It's not a management problem. It's an information problem. And now this company needs a control tower, and let's build it with Odoo. So we'll start with our project application. And now imagine that you have a new customer. You will not reinvent the wheel each time, because you know how to manage this kind of project. So you will use the new feature project template and launch here an adapted way to work with this customer. So, as it's a premium one, we'll launch this kind of project. So the name of the customer is Paddle Club Brussels, and we will start this project next month, at the beginning of the month. And now we can assign the people that will work on this project. So the project here, the business analyst we will start with is, as usual, Elias. The web designer will be Riyadh, and we will choose Mo as the project manager. And now, if I click on Create Project, you will see all tasks are already there. So you don't need to be here to create this task. You will need just to work. And first thing that we need to do is to define the deadline of this task. So we can move on the calendar view, and thanks to the drag and drop feature, you can set up all deadline of this task. So we can start with configuration, for instance, and we need also to move on the right month. Here, as you can see, we work with Odoo. So normally, configuration will not take a lot of time. So we can here define this deadline at the first week, at the end of the first week. Security is a task that we don't have any link with the rest of the project. So we can do it at the end of the project, at the end of the month, for instance. Customization, we can do it for week. Main page and landing page need to be done at the beginning of the project. So maybe the first one. The review, before the review, we need to finish this task so we can plan it maybe Friday. And logo and branding need to be done at the beginning of the design of this website. So now, really quickly, we have all the deadline of our project. But it's not enough to plan our project. We can move now to the list view. And here, what we can already set is the priority of this task. As we have a really picky customer, and he wants to deliver a great job, and he wants to convert a lot of customers. So we can put a focus on logo and branding, and maybe also the landing page to be sure that we convert enough customers. That's it. We already set up the deadlines, after that the priority, and now we need to be more precise about date. So we move again on our task, and we go task per task to check how to plan it. As you can see, we can clearly see the priority of this task. And now I need to decide when this task needs to be started. So we can click here to have a starting date. And now I know that this task could be take maybe 3 days. The next one, main page. As it's easy, maybe we can take 2 days. It's always at this step estimations. Configuration, we work with Odoo, it's really easy. We can start it here and finish it 3 days after. Security, as I explained, is not linked to the rest of the task. Maybe 2 days at the end is enough. Review and follow-up, it's an important step for the project, so I can define here 2 days to perform it. Customization could take time, and maybe we can do it like here during 3 days to be sure that we have enough time. And now we have a real plan, and we can move to an interesting view, the Gantt view. And here I need to move to the right month because I need to plan this month for my team. 1st October. And here, clearly, you can see what happened in this project. We need to perform configuration before moving on the main page, sorry. And as you can see, there is an arrow between these tasks, which means there is a link. Here, the logo and branding need to be done before going on the review. And as you can see, main page also need to be done before the review. So here we have a first issue. So we need to plan it properly. We plan it at the good date. Customization can be done here, and we can finish with security. So that's a good step for project planning. But it's only a view about one project. The most interesting thing is to see how many works we have with all our projects. So we can move on a view with all our tasks. And we move again on the Gantt view. And of course, as we plan for October, we need to select this date. And here, as you can see, we have the plan for all our projects. So which means that now, normally, we are good. We can start to enjoy our time because we are already planned all our projects. And that's a great thing. Boom, we have a first surprise. The developer is not there. He's out of the office, and we need to manage this situation. So let's do it with Odoo. As you can see, thanks to the Integrate app, we can go on the time of application and see what happens. And we see that Riyadh will be off during 2 days. He's sick. That happens. And we will validate the fact he's sick, of course. And now we need to move again on the project view and see how we can react to this situation. I need, of course, to go on the good month. And as you can see, during this period, we have a clear view that Riyadh is not available. But we can easily replan this task. So we need just to move it at the good place when he will be available to work again. And that's it. We already set here and we react properly because we have a clear view of what happened with all our projects. As you can see, all the team member has enough time to work on the task because here we have, thanks to this code color, the signal that we have enough time to work on this task. So I think now we can enjoy our time because we plan and we manage a first good situation. Oh, boom, what happened now? We have a task that takes more time. You know, the famous 5-minute task that we need to manage last minute. So, which is this? We need to check what happened here on this task. So, according to the customer, he needs a redesign of this project. So what we will do here, thanks to this view, we can plan this task the entire week because we need more time. And as you can see, we have enough time to manage this situation. I think now we have enough time to enjoy. And now, because we have planned all the project of the next month, we can just relax. Boom, we have a new surprise. What happened now? We have a new request from customer. You know, the one more thing that never just one thing. Okay, what we can do? We need to check what happened on the topic. So, it's a new task. They want a code builder online. As you can see, Ilias has not much time. What we can do, maybe we can delegate this task to the PM of this project. So thanks to this view, we can create a new task that will be automatically assigned to Mo. As you can see, we can create here new request, code configurator. And we can save it. And as you can see, here we have enough time to manage this last request from our customer. That's great. So we manage all situations that can happen in a project. Someone is not available, a new request, more time that we need for one task. And that's the reality of planning project. So to conclude, this talk is we cannot have a magic button, but we can create clarity with a great tool. You can properly plan your project because you control time, dependencies, and people. We cannot create a button to create time, but we can create clarity. Clarity with a great tool there. Thank you for your attention. That's all for me. And now we can move to your question.
Thank you, Mohamed, for showing us how to be pros at project planning. And now let's address the questions from the audience. Let's start with the first one. Are deadlines and milestones viewable in the Gantt chart?
On the Gantt chart, normally you have a look here. If I get this question properly, here on the screen, you can set the deadline of your task because it's always the end of the task there. But in addition here, you can have also deadline of your project. As you can see here, for this project, I have defined a deadline on the middle of the project, and here you can see it on this view. So, of course, you can add it, and you can create more deadline if you need it. Here we just, for clarity of this view, we create only one, and here, when it's finished, you can just indicate that it's finished on this view.
Okay, thank you. The next question. Someone is using project planning for an ETO project. Is it possible to consider the forecast for the employees?
What is the forecast that you need? I use planning.
So maybe it's not specified.
Possible to consider the forecast for. I don't know what you need to forecast exactly, but here, if it's about time, this use case is just about not forecasting, but just here really plan the necessary time for each task. So here I moved on the next month, and I already planned all my tasks, and here I can see clearly if I have enough time for each person, for each project, for each task. I don't know if I get this point, but I think you have the idea.
Yes, we considered like forecasting in the sense of time. Yes, thank you for that.
Pleasure.
Then the next one, what if half a task okay, maybe we move to the next one. Mm-hmm. How to display time off of employee and holidays in task Gantt view?
It's already automatic. So here, as you can see, when we add his time off, you see it here clearly on this view. I don't know if it's clear on the screen, I think so. So here, when someone is off, you have it on the view, but it's not, you will not have any action that it's automatically planned. So you need to plan all your tasks according to this time off. So we can see it on the view, but you need to adapt. Okay, so here Odoo is really flexible to give you the opportunity to adapt yourself.
Okay, thank you. And let's move to a question about a possible charging. So what if halfway through the task, you know it will take 3 more days? Mm-hmm. Can you charge the remaining estimate?
You can charge the remaining estimate depending on the configuration that you have set up on the system. So if you define this task build depending on the timesheet, you will have this timesheet adding on your sales order, and you can again invoice it to your customer. So it depends really on the configuration. If you charge your customer by time, so you need to configure your task at this way, and you can charge after your customer.
Okay.
Or you can keep it manually. You can create a new sale order, add a product that is 3 days consulting, and add the price, and that's it, depending of your level of flexibility.
Okay, thank you for elaborating on this one. Then the next one, is it possible to plan the task by role or department and employees?
No, this feature is only tied. It's only tied to project management. So here on Odoo, I can show you how to configure it. Maybe it will be interesting. You have a new menu where you can here define project role, okay? And here you can create all the role that you need for your project, and that's it. There is at this moment no link with department or the employee information.
Okay, thank you. And when it comes to sharing, can we add external guests to the Gantt view and tasks?
That's an interesting question that normally, if I'm not wrong, you can share this view with the portal customer, but you need to check if it's now true with the PO of the app.
And I assume we can find it at his stand.
Exactly. On the Village Odoo, you have different booths, and you can go directly on the service one.
Okay, thank you. And probably one of the last questions. How is it handled, the increased time on a 5-minute task from billing/finance?
I don't get this point clearly. How it's handling from billing, finance. I think it's really linked to one previous question. It's really depending on how you have configured the product that you have sold to your customer. So if it's based on time, if you have more time, so your developer have time sheeted more time on this task, you can bill it again to your customer. It really depends on the configuration of the product, because sometimes you can also sell to your customer like prepaid services. So it will depend on the first configuration to be sure that you can after bill it properly.
Okay, thank you. And let's quickly move on to the last question. Is it possible to define the capacity for each employee per project?
Yes, exactly. It will depend. It will depend on the contract of the customer. So it's already here integrated with employee app. And if I'm going here to one employee, you can see that here you have the working hour of the employee, and you can go here in deep to have here a clear view of the calendar of this employee. So you can create as many contracts that you want and link it to the employee to have a clear view of the availability of each one.
Okay, thank you, Mohamed. So one more round of applause for our speaker.
Thank you. Pleasure.